Alright, welcome. First topic for today is going to be the Sweden incident, as it is starting to become known on the interwebs. What happened, or how this came about, was that on Saturday, President Trump went down to Florida to have a big old, love me rally with people that at least appear to actually still like him. And as Trump has a habit for doing, he said something kind of concerning. So, without further ado, here's the clip.
The bottom line, we've got to keep our country safe. You look at what's happening. We've got to keep our country safe. You look at what's happening in Germany. You look at what's happening last night in Sweden. Sweden. Who would believe this? Sweden. They took in large numbers. They're having problems like they never thought possible. You look at what's happening in Brussels. You look at what's happening all over the world. Take a look at Nice.
Okay, so that brought up the question pretty much around the world. What happened in Sweden last night? That would be Friday night. And nothing. Nothing happened at all in Sweden, period. The Swedish actually jokingly tweeted it snowed. Like, it was a thing. I think I read one place that said like the employees at the Swedish embassy in Washington were like calling back home and trying to find out like what's going on, what's happening. Like nothing happened. And then some other things happened. It turns out what he was talking about. They thought it was like a terror attack or something like happened last night. Well, again, nothing happened. And then, of course, as Trump has a habit of doing, he tweeted this. He said, "My statement as to what's happening in Sweden was in reference to a story that was broadcast on Fox News concerning immigrants in Sweden." Okay, so nothing happened in Sweden. It was something on Fox News. More particularly, it was this on Fox News. This is an interview on Tucker Carlson tonight or something with an Ami Horowitz. Ami Horowitz is a documentary maker who... Let me start that over. Basically, okay. Ami Horowitz is a former Lehman Brothers investment banker turned documentary filmmaker. He specializes in videos such as basically various right-wing conservative type stuff, like about the absurdities of the Occupy movement and Black Lives Matter and how confusing and how many pages. Seriously, that was one of his videos. It was like asking people like, oh, aren't you shocked that Obama, at the number of pages that the Affordable Care Act is? That's the kind of stuff he makes. It's basically like little right wing hack jobs, mockumentaries really. And it was discussing the immigration situation in Sweden, who has, as a country, taken in the majority or more immigrants or refugees from the Middle East than any other nation in Europe. And he's discussing all these issues, like how high their crime rate is, and the incidents of crime and rape are skyrocketing and are really high because of all it. Basically, I'll link to the video in the description. You can go see it there. it was basically a 5-minute conservative circle jerk about the evils of immigrants and socialism. Which turned out, interestingly enough, to be, I don't like using the term fake news because it's becoming a buzzword, but that interview actually turned out to have some questionable material in it, as far as facts go. Specifically, if you watch the interview, among other things, like he doesn't, of course, it's par for the course, he doesn't bring up anything like actual facts or statistics or anything like that, any proof, other than criticizing the Swedish government, and that saying that they're, for some reason, trying to keep it under wraps, and they don't want people to know, so they're keeping all the facts, the true facts. You know, they have statistics, but those are fake statistics. The real ones they're keeping secret because they don't want people to know about what's going on in their country, because I don't know. It's still one of those things, like, they never go into why. Like, what would be the point? Anyway, of covering it up. But anyway, we go on. So, okay, so the facts and figures, or the things that he discusses in the interview here. At one point, he even shows clips of his new, like, his documentary that he's making, about this condition or this problem in Sweden, in which he actually brings on, in the video it doesn't really say who they are, but evidently they're policemen, discussing, like, an interview with 2 police officers in Stockholm, about the rising crime rate caused by the refugees. Yeah, it turned out that was false. There's an interview. There was a there's actually an article it's actually an article I read, and I'll link in the description, that had this to say about that, at least that portion of the interview. Those disputing Horowitz's conclusions include 2 Stockholm-based police officers who were featured in Horowitz's film talking about crime and the accessibility of weapons. One of them saying, I don't understand why we're part of the segment. One of the police officers, Anders Gorzon, told, again, newspaper that I can't pronounce, link in the description, on Monday. The interview was about something completely different to what Fox News and Horowitz were talking about. It was supposed to be about crime in high-risk areas, areas with high crime rates, areas with high crime rates. There wasn't any focus on immigration or migration. So, there's that. So, basically, the only network that Trump has not yelled about and screamed about being fake news is actually pushing false information. And not only that, but they doubled down on it this morning. See, this all happened... See, this interview took place on Friday night, or aired Friday night. Trump's remarks were Saturday. And then this morning, on Fox and Friends, Tucker Carlson came on again and just sort of doubled down on everything, saying, it seems like we may be missing the point of the story, which is there has been a massive social cost with the refugee policies and the immigration policies of Western Europe. So, again, not only has this interview that Trump is basing his public comments on and his feelings towards issues not only has it been proven that, okay, there's something really sketchy going on with this interview, but the guy who gave it still won't admit it. It's like, oh, it's all true. It's, the big point is there's a problem with immigration, and we need to look at that. Like, yeah, the problem with immigration, one of the big ones right now is the fact that you're trying to cover it incorrectly. Idiot. But yeah, that's for the most part what I have on that particular subject. And yeah, that's what our president is basing his public comments and his opinions on. Interviews done with, interviews conducted by Fox News hacks, on or with former bankers turn right-wing hit piece like documentary makers with bad information or no evidence, who misquote and misuse interviews and information they have. And that's the situation we find ourselves in. The president is getting his information, not from classified briefings, not from that are on his desk every morning, not from his advisors, not from any one of several experts. I mean, he's the president of the United States. If you were called, if you answered if the phone rang, you picked it up, and someone on our side said, "Please hold for the president of the United States," would you take that call? Damn straight you would. He could literally contact and get advice on this subject from anyone who knows a hell of a lot more than an ex-banker and whoever the schmuck is, like whatever his background is. But no. He's getting it from Fox News. That is very concerning to me, and it should be very concerning to you too. Anyway, that's it. Like I said, links are in the description. Like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.